So I've had so many people ask me about the process of the drum, I thought I'd make a quick little video of just a little bit of the making of it. So this was made out of a propane tank, the barbecue size, and it starts like this. So this is after we've taken the paint off, and this is actually in process. Jerry, the musician I work with, sketches it all out in pen for me. Like, I don't know if you can see this one. This one's all sketched out. This one hasn't been made yet. So I've already gone into this one and cut the lines, and I started cutting it in half, but I thought I'd finish it so you can see how I cut it. And I do not cut it with a plasma cutter. I cut it with a grinder with a cutting blade, because it gives me a nice sharp straight edge, which is more difficult with the plasma cutter. And the plasma cutter itself actually was warping the metal, so that's why we stayed against that. And I like the crisp, clean lines when it's finished. And just to see, so this is a finished drum. This drum has been oxidized, that's what the brown color is, and then I wax it so it has a really nice finish. I don't know if you can hear this. So Jerry tunes this D minor pentatonic scale. So this was the bottom of the tank, this was the top where the valve was, and the stand that it sits on was the middle part of the tank. Have a few here that are in process. So this one here, let me see, turn up the map, I can see it better. This one I've already cleaned up quite a bit. It's been cut apart and welded back together, and I've ground a lot of it down. And then you can see these little dabs of welded on it here. This is where I've either gone over with the cut or there was an imperfection and I'm trying to smooth it out. I don't like to add too much weld to it because it actually, the makeup of the welding wire is a different makeup than the tank, so sometimes it will oxidize a different color. So I try not to have to do that if I don't need to. But, so anyway, I'll show you some of the cutting so you can see how it goes. You might want to mute this, it's going to be crazy loud. So I start, let's see if you can see it here. I start with the grinding wheel and I go to here, and of course I went over a little bit, so I'll have to fill that in later. But what I like to do is I try not to go that far. I just go to a degree, and then I use this jigsaw, and not jigsaw, what is this called? This thing, whatever it is. I go in and I can clean up all my lines and get a nice crisp corner. And that's how it works with all the corners. So that's basically how I do the notes. Now I'll show you how I cut the tank in half. Cut it most of the way. And I put it on this so I can, this nipple, so that I can turn it in the vise as I'm working, which is better than using the handle of the tank itself. You just always really make sure it's on there tight, because if this drum hits the ground, it dents it, and it's nearly impossible to get it back to the shape I have, but it's not a fun job. So, moment of truth. There's the top. So I'll have to go in and I'll clean up all the metal edges in there, and I'll clean this surface really nice on the edge so that when I weld it, I'll get a nice clean weld. This is going to be a really beautiful drum because of all the pitting that's on the surface. It'll create all different depths of color. So the next step will be to go in. Matches up pretty nice. I actually don't mind if there's a little bit of gap here and there because I feel like I get a better weld in those locations sometimes. So I'll weld it together, and then after it's welded, I'll grind that edge, not flush, but I'll grind it so it looks really nice. And then I will then give the drum to Jerry, who will tune each note. And how he tunes it is he has a tuning device and he plays each one and he changes the length. He has me Springfield. He has me cut all the notes just a little bit short so that when he goes in to tune them, he will have to cut them a little bit longer. And then he gives the drum back to me and I clean up his cuts. And sometimes we cut too far and then I have to weld them shut, and it's a process. We hand the drum back and forth several times. So that is how we make our tank drum. Ta-da!